In this video, I'm gonna make The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and have my good friend Carl react.
What is this? A guardian? How?
It took Nintendo over 5 years and thousands of engineers to create this game, so I'm gonna do it in 1 month. To start, we need a Link character, but since I recently made a video where I remade Ocarina of Time, I could just steal my Link from that. One of the most iconic parts of Breath of the Wild is climbing. I used inverse kinematics to keep the hand and feet positions in contact with the wall. This works by creating a raycast at the tip of each of Link's hands and feet. But looking at the amount of mistakes I made while coding this, climbing was a lot more difficult than I thought it would be. It took me over a week to finally get climbing right. If I'm gonna get this done, I'm gonna need some help with the terrain. Hey Chris, I need you to make me the entire Breath of the Wild map in 1 week in Unity, okay?
What's Unity?
Perfect, thanks. The other most fun part about Breath of the Wild is gliding. So I modeled the glider in Blender and used inverse kinematics again to keep Link's hands on the glider. While Link is gliding, I made it so he has a small constant velocity downward instead of his normal gravity. I thought this was going to be a lot harder to code, but surprisingly, this was the easiest part of the game. The hardest part of the game, though, was without a doubt creating the Divine Beast abilities. My favorite ability is Revali's Gale, and after a few days, yeah, this is pretty terrible. I followed one of Gabriel Prod's tutorials, and with a little bit of airbending, I finally had a nice looking tornado. I found models for the champion spirits online. I then brought them into Blender to animate, and used another Gabriel Prod tutorial to create the shader. With an air column and a Divine Beast spirit, all I needed left was the fire particles. I used Unity's particle system, a great system. Psych! I used Unity's VFX graph because I'm not a nerd. And now we have a working Revali's Gale. The rest of the Divine Beast abilities were created in a similar way, so here's a montage of all 4 of them. In Breath of the Wild, all 4 champion spirits are actually green, but I wanted them to look more distinct, so I changed their colors to match the color of their ability icons. I created shields, fire, and lightning using VFX graph to make the abilities as accurate as possible. Now we're talking. These took a long time, but I'm so happy with how they turned out. Let's check out how the terrain's going.
Hey Chris, how's it coming? I made a cube.
Great, we need to finish in 2 weeks. For the enemies, I wanted to create a Bokoblin, a Hinox, and of course, a Guardian. To create them all, I worked really hard to meticulously model them in Blender. Since there weren't any bones or animations for the Bokoblin, I had to rig it myself. As you can see, I knew exactly what I was doing and it worked perfectly the first try. I spent a few more days fine-tuning the animation and combat for the Bokoblin. Similar to my Ocarina of Time video, I made the Bokoblin have a random action every 3 seconds. It can move left, right, or forward, and if it's in range, it'll attack you every 2 seconds. I gave the Bokoblins fancy code, but they still lose to Urbosa's Fury. I used the same system for the other enemies by modularizing the actions and animations. To set up the Hinox, I mapped humanoid animations onto its rig using Unity's mechanism system. Hey, how's it going over there? I decided to give the Hinox a kick attack, but sometimes, since the foot moves so far so quickly during the animation, the hitbox would miss the Link character. I solved this by making larger hitboxes and only applying damage if the swing of the foot is moving forward. Here we've got 1 Hinox to fight, but that's pretty boring. It's much better with 12 Hinox. Well, looks like they still lose to lightning. The Hinox is cool and all, but let's be real, everyone here wants to see the Guardian. Once again, we modeled it in Blender and threw it in the game. The Guardian has a simple walk cycle, but needed a lot of work to perform the laser attack. I went back to Unity's VFX graph to create the tracking beam. The tracking beam works by locking onto the position of the Guardian's target every frame. It then rotates the head using inverse kinematics so the eye points at the target. After that, it shoots out 40 particles per second to let the target know that the Guardian is locked on. I then made a laser by creating a projectile class and attaching a collider and particle visual effect to the object. After a few seconds of being locked on, the Guardian will shoot the laser at its target, causing the laser to explode and deal a massive amount of damage. But this wouldn't be Breath of the Wild without the coolest feature, the ability to redirect the laser. Within the projectile class, I created a deflector property. If the laser hits Daruk's protection shield, for example, the laser will ignore the player collider and instead deflect in the opposite direction of its previous velocity. This took a long time to make, but I think it was worth it.
Is that really a Temple of Time? I don't know how you did that. What is this? What is this? A Guardian? How? Wait. How did you actually make it? You would put a Guardian as the first freaking enemy. You're an action. Oh my gosh.
He's gotta fight it. He's gotta fight it. Oh no. Oh, he's no shield anymore. Oh, he
yes,
kills the Guardian. Hey Chris, finished yet?
Finished.
My brother superimposed the Breath of the Wild map into Unity and used the Unity terrain system to sculpt the sides. The terrain system also allowed him to paint textures on the mesh and efficiently add trees. We also scattered dead Guardian piles around the map, just like the real game. I want to create the runes before moving to the Great Plateau. I was able to download a model for the cube runes, but I couldn't find one for the spheres. So I went to Blender and made it myself. I used an emission texture to give the runes a shine, and a hold transform on the character so that I can always spawn runes in the same place. To do this properly, I once again used inverse kinematics to make sure Link was holding the rune correctly. And after some gravity and shader work, I finally have my first working rune. Now we've got another method to fight the Hinox. Magnesis is without a doubt my favorite rune in the game. For each object in the world, I have a property called magnetic on it. This determines if magnesis can lift it or not. I use the look at function to have the magnet always point in the direction of its target. And with some VFX, it looks like the real thing. I employed similar strategies for stasis and cryonis. These took a little bit longer than I would have liked though. Because of that, this project took a little longer than a month. I didn't want to reveal anything that didn't at least look decent. But just like my League of Legends video, the VFX look better than the original. Yeah, no. Now I take Link and all of my scripts and plop them right on the Great Plateau. But we're still missing a few things, like the Temple of Time, temple grounds, shrines, towers, water, other characters, the rest of the entire map, clothing, other weapons, Korok seeds, my sanity, the actual divine beasts, the 3 dragons, and... oh boy, I think I'm only going to be able to finish the Great Plateau in this video. Link's looking pretty ugly right now, so I think it's time for a new one. I found a new Link and created a toon shader with this tutorial. This Link didn't have a rig though, so I used Unity's prefab to FBX converter and then brought the Link to Blender. From there, I can rig him up and use Unity's humanoid mechanism targeting to make sure the animations play just as before. Hey, that's a pretty big Master Sword you got there. Pretty sure that's not working right. I rescaled the Master Sword and Hyrule Shield, and Link's back to normal. I'm still learning Blender, but I was able to struggle through creating the Temple of Time. I created the base of the building using a series of loop cuts and an array modifier. After that, I started to remove geometry to make it look like the temple was destroyed. UV unwrapping this thing was a nightmare. This took forever, and I had to do it for the Temple of Time and the platform and ruins surrounding it. With the temple done, I downloaded a shrine model and applied materials to it. With that done, I gave everything to my brother for him to put on the map. Once my brother was finished adding trees and updating the terrain, our Great Plateau looks like this. Let's get Carl's reaction.
This actually looks like the game. This looks like Breath of the Wild. Whoa! 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 Did it explode?
The goal of the challenge, you have to reach all 4 shrines, and then you have to climb the tower.
Wait, that actually looks really good. Alright, Hinox. Wait, he looks cuter in this. What the heck? You made it better in the actual game. This is like the 4th DLC, like ultra hard mode. In the ground. I don't count those. Did you just jump off? Yo, they're like parkour!
Alright, the moment of truth. Oh!
The hot tub of doom.
Oh no! Run, jump on it, jump on it.
I got it.
Run, run! No!
Why am I dead?
Oh, you're so close! Where is it? Where's the dungeon? Run!
I'm no stamina!
Oh no! Alright,
I'm not scared, you guys.
alright. Can Carl do it? Is Carl gonna win? No way. Oh wait, you're dead. Oh wait, but what? You're still... I decided to hold off creating the inside of the shrines because this video's already getting really long. But if you enjoy this, I'll create the shrines in another video. For legal reasons, I can't release this game, but I hope you enjoyed this video while we wait for Nintendo to announce Breath of the Wild 2. Thanks for watching.